Hey there, here we are in front of the National Gallery of Canada in Ottawa. Took us a little bit of time. We were supposed to go to another museum called the Defen Bunker, which is actually like a Cold War nuclear bunker. We're gonna go there tomorrow though, and here's the gallery over here behind me.
I'm reinventing myself. I'm me and nobody else. Ooh, I can't help but smile.
The battle of the ultra-wide and the ultra-light. Yes. Hello, fine people of the world, and welcome to another one of these things. Yes, it's been a while. For those APS-C shooters out there, we're talking about 2 full-frame lenses today. Although you can use these on your APS-C cameras, they'll no longer be considered ultra-wide. For those after a crop sensor ultra-wide zoom, I could not be happier than with this. This is Sigma's 10-18 with a constant f2.8. It accepts screw-on filters, and it takes advantage of the format by being super tiny, super lightweight, and having excellent image quality. Having used it extensively on my FX30, I'll confirm it's an amazing choice for filmmakers as well, especially for those who use gimbals. It extends very, very little. Don't have to rebalance your gimbal or anything like that. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, the Sigma 10-18. Done. I used to get excited about fast primes exclusively, and lenses with only one focal length with a very large max aperture. My feelings have changed in the current landscape of high quality zooms. On the topic of landscapes, landscape photography is one of the areas in which having one of these ultra wide zooms is a wonderful thing, because you can capture those wide vistas while also being able to compose something tighter with just one lens. You know, cropping in situ rather than cropping afterwards, which makes for a higher quality photo anyways. But real estate photographers, astrophotographers, and filmmakers will also want to explore these zooms. They're especially compelling for gimbal shooters who potentially could shoot with the same lens all day. Amazing if you've ever balanced a gimbal and you know what that's about. Anyway, my checklist for ultra-wide zooms may differ from yours, but you know, here it is anyway. They have to be lightweight, whatever I choose. This eliminates most zooms for me, whether it be for travel or one of my paid shoots closer to home. I'm absolutely not going to start carrying around heavy lenses anymore. And yeah, like, I mean, there's no reason to really. The quality's there without having to have a heavy lens anymore. They have to be fast. Nowadays, we can expect at least an f2.8 from anything in this focal range. And this also means that you can use these lenses for astrophotography without using a star tracker. Astro people know what I'm talking about. It also means that somewhat out of focus backgrounds at the longest focal lengths or at the minimum focus distances can be possible as well. On the topic of minimum focus distance, I do some architectural and real estate photography, and it's nice to be able to use the same lens when working in some detail shots. So I'm not carrying around 2 lenses. It also gives me the creative control when we're on our adventures and I need a close-up of something. The lenses that I'm considering also have to have screw-on filter threads, front screw-on filter threads. I'm not going to mess around with kooky backside film type filters or crazy huge filter frame kits. Everything I carry around usually goes into a messenger bag, and that's the way I like it. Anyway, it has to be at least 16 mil wide. For many real estate photographers, 16 mil is the perfect balance between wide and too wide. For me, 16 is the minimum, with 14 being a nice to have. I do like the flexibility. If you got a zoom, you can always go between 14 and 16 if you want. So the last thing on my checklist is corner sharpness. It's the last thing because it's the least important to me. I'm not going to accept completely out of focus corners, but they don't have to be tack sharp either at wide open at f2.8. They should be within the realm of what I consider decent, at least. So taking all the things on my checklist into consideration, it actually only leaves me with 2 lenses. I know, that's crazy, but it really comes down to these two. Candidate number one is actually already really popular. It's a Sigma 16 to 28 f2.8 contemporary at only 450 grams. The contemporary series are the only ones that really fall within the weight category I would accept. And the other one is something completely different from LK Samyang, formerly Samyang Optics. Last year they changed their name. That would be 2024 if you're watching this in the future. They did a collab with a famous lens maker, Schneider, Kreuznach, to accomplish something quite astonishing. They've made a 14 to 24 f2.8 that's only 445 grams, which is actually lighter than anything in the 16 to 28 focal range, which is incredible. It also accepts screw-on filters, the world's first 14 to 24 that allows screwed-on front filters. There's nothing else like it for Sony shooters. I say that because it's only available on E-mount right now. But is it any good? Even if it's good, you may run into a little difficulty getting your hands on one in North America because their distribution network isn't great. It's pretty limited in North America. It was a little difficult, actually, me getting my hands on this. So let's break the basics down between these two lenses before we make our comparison and any decision as to which one might be right for you, and ultimately which one I'm going to be keeping myself, because I can't afford to keep both of these around. Anyways, on the topic of price, which I'm not made of money, and some of you may be in the same boat. If you can find the Samyang, its MSRP, its manufacturer suggested retail price, is $1,199 US. The Sigma is $200 less at $989 USD. The $200 difference might not mean much for those who want the extra 2 mil. At the wide end, it might not seem like much, 2 mil, but let me show you in this example. Both of these are with lens profiles turned on. So you can see 2 mil makes a big difference. You can see how much more of the floor and the ceiling that we're seeing in this bathroom. Construction. Sigma have been making some very well constructed lenses for some time now. This thing feels and looks great, in my humble opinion. Although this is from their contemporary series, it has Sigma quality written all over it. We have a manual autofocus switch here on the side. Other than that, the zoom and focus rings are it for physical controls. That zoom and focus are as smooth as you'll find in the business. They do a great job. We do have a weather sealing gasket on the back, which I do appreciate. We do run into some inclement weather when we're traveling, and if you're going to be using this as a landscape lens, definitely be something you run into. The filter thread on the front is a popular 72 mil, and we have a 9 bladed round aperture. The optical formula consists of 16 elements in 11 groups, 5 FLD and 4 spherical, which means the lens is doing everything it can optically before corrections are applied digitally to help your images out. Autofocus is handled by a stepping motor. We'll go to the Samyang. The Samyang doesn't feel cheap, but its styling kind of reminds me of the first autofocus lenses I used in the 90s. Not a compliment. Unfortunately, it's just covered in a mess of redundant information that I wish they just left off of the lens. Another odd decision was to make the zoom and focus ring a different texture. It's easy to tell them apart when you're not looking. The focus ring turns far too easily for me. I prefer the damped focus ring of the Sigma, and the zoom ring isn't nearly as smooth as it is on the Sigma. They've added a subtle blue ring on the lens, which I guess denotes the collaboration with Schneider Kreuznach. It extends a little bit at the wide end, actually. The Samyang also has a autofocus, manual focus switch, but also has a programmable switch, unlike the Sigma. And it also has a USB-C port for firmware updates. It also includes the weather sealing gasket at the back, which is really nice. So 77 mil filter thread at the front, and the optical formula is 15 elements in 11 groups, 3 being aspherical, 5 high refractive, 3 low dispersion, extra low dispersion. I'll assume these elements are contributions from Schneider Kreuznach. Autofocus is powered by a linear STM motor. There are a few bad lenses out there today. Spoiler alert, both of these lenses performed exceptionally well in every category that I tested. There are some standout differences which will likely be where we find ourselves choosing one over the other. Let's address the elephant in the room. They are different focal lengths, but my tests will embrace this difference rather than shooting the Samyang at 16 just so we can compare them closer. I'm not going to do that. I'll tell you now that I've ignored the long end. The difference is easily made up with a little crop and post, where making an image wider is somewhat more a dubious affair. If you're a die-hard Sigma person and you want a full frame 14 to 25 2.8, the Sigma DN is about 30% heavier than either of these lenses. So totally out of the question for me. Let's compare corner sharpness of these with the old brick wall test, both with corrections turned on. The corners for both of these lenses are very good. Center sharpness, immaculate with both lenses. As expected, we have some barrel distortion and vignetting before profiles are applied. You'll have to download the correction profile for Lightroom from LK Samyang's site. When I checked, both lenses get a full pass. No decisions based on sharpness results here. Chromatic aberrations were a non-issue, and flaring was nothing to be concerned with either. Coma is something the astrophotographers will be concerned with, and I'll defer to Christopher Frost's video, so you're going to want to check those out for the both lenses, because he does test coma, and coma was not an issue in the tests that he did. Anyway, the stepping motors in both lenses were quiet, fast, and devoid of any hunting. Photographers and filmmakers will rejoice. Filmmakers will rejoice because they're quiet. You won't get any of that sound in your microphones. Close focusing distance is a big one. The Samyang is a clear winner in this category. The close focusing distance of the Sigma is 10 inches from the sensor plane, while the Samyang's is 7 inches. This doesn't seem like much, but Samyang's maximum magnification is an astonishing 0.26 times. This opens up entirely new and unique creative possibilities that are not available really at all to you with the Sigma. So that could potentially be a big one for a lot of people. I found myself having a lot of fun with that close focusing distance and magnification out of the Samyang. Anyway, my conclusion is, if you've already figured it out, I'm keeping the Samyang. This collab that they've ventured into has produced something truly special. The Sigma is an object of beauty as well as a work of art on the inside, but when it comes down to it, it will be weighing what's most important to you personally. And for me, it's all the what I consider advantages going with the Samyang. As usual, I hope you guys got something out of this one, so please consider throwing me a like or subscribing with notifications if you want to avoid missing content like this in the future. Until next time, keep working to make your chosen idea a reality. Peace.